This week's episode is sponsored by Change. Change is the #1 mentoring program that teaches you e-commerce from scratch. Change has a real community with real results. I have been working with Ryan for many years now and have attended many of his events and retreats across the world and got to meet members and the amazing community of like-minded people. Ryan works with a lot of big names in the business world, helping them build online businesses and e-commerce. Change offers personal one-on-one support, no experience needed, but like anything, this takes time and is not a get-rich-quick scheme. If you put the work in, you will get the results. E-commerce and online shopping is getting bigger and bigger. This is a great opportunity for anyone that is looking for financial freedom. For more information, go follow Ryan on Instagram at RyanJB, and he will guide you through the steps to help you get started and build a successful online business. You can now follow me on all my social media platforms to find out who my latest guest will be. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you're notified for when my next podcast goes live. Boom, we're on. And today's guest, we've got Mikki Mase. Mikki, how are we?
I don't know what you just said.
We'll put subtitles for people.
Yeah, I need subtitles for
Yeah.
this interview.
Professional gambler.
Yeah.
A lot of people know you for flamboyant sort of money, all the dollars, 10 million, 11 million. There's a lot more to your story, from addiction, prison, you know, which we'll get into all that madness. But how's the UK treating you?
It's awesome, man. This is my favorite weather ever. I love rain. I love cold. I love dark. I love all that. Like, this is my absolute favorite weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Feel more at peace?
Yeah, I just like it. Like, I hate sweating. I honestly, I hate leaving the house. So when it rains, everybody wants to stay inside, you know? I think if it rained more, I would enjoy that because I'd be in the house more. But I feel like I live in LA, you know? And like, it never rains. So when it does finally rain, I love going out there. Like, that's my time to shine, you know?
Freedom.
Yeah.
There is a different, even Scotland, the air is clean. Everything's cleaner. You know, when you go to places like Dubai and Inlet, it seems a bit more dirtier. New York, you know, I love these places, but I fucking also love Scotland.
Why do you guys talk like that?
I don't know, bro. The Irish as well.
Well, how did it start? Because it's so ludicrous. It's such a just like wild version of English. Like, what happened?
I don't know, bro.
You never asked?
We like to be different. I think that's why we fight so much. Scotland, fighting.
Faint?
Did you never watch Braveheart? Fighting.
Faint?
Fight.
Oh, fight.
Yeah, Braveheart. Did you ever watch?
Yeah.
So I think there is wires loose.
It's like you guys said, how can we make the hardest version of English to understand?
Mm-hmm. Because you can speak to people from Pakistan, India, whatever, and they've got English as their second language, and you understand them.
Yeah.
The conversation will flow. You speak to a Scotsman, it's like, what? Like, Steph has to edit so much. You know?
You speak, what kind of English you speak? Oh, you too? Oh, you sound better though.
Yeah.
Do you know, so you told me you're going to Boston.
Yeah.
Do you know why the Boston accent is the way it is?
The Irish?
No.
No.
So during the Boston Tea Party, the English came over. They were having the battle. After the war, a lot of the British settlers, a lot of the British soldiers stayed there and became settlers. So what you're hearing in that region is actually a mix of British and American English. And that's why it sounds the way it sounds. That's the Boston accent.
I like the Boston accent.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Before we get into all the madness, though,
Uh-huh.
I always like to go back to the start of my guests, get more of a bit of understanding about you, where you grew up and how it all began.
I was born in Jersey. I grew up as a child in Jersey, and New Jersey and New York is like very fluid. So I spent a lot of time in New York as a young child, and eventually I just moved to New York City. I lived in New York City for a while. I grew up in like New York City card rooms. My grandparents would take me. They spent every day of their lives gambling. So like Monday through Thursday, I grew up in New York City card rooms, and on the weekends was Atlantic City. Um, I went to juvie. I was pretty young. I was 15. I did exactly a year. So I came out, I was 16. I was very well behaved for like a year about. Then I just started getting in real trouble again. But then I was 17 getting in adult trouble. Um, I actually fled. I was gonna get tried as an adult at 17. So I actually fled and I came out here. I lived here in London. I lived here when I was well, first I went to Israel. I lived in Israel at 17. The morning of my 18th birthday, I got a plane ticket. I moved to Amsterdam. From Amsterdam, I moved to Belgium, then France, then London, and I came out here. And I was homeless a lot. I lived in a few places, but I was homeless, so like just going around. I lived in Piccadilly. Waterloo was my favorite. I lived in Peckham Rye. That was a dangerous mistake. I didn't know. You know Peckham Rye?
No.
It's like, you know what Compton is?
Yeah.
It's like Compton, but out here. And I didn't know that. I just found like online, like everything was so cheap in Peckham Rye. So I go, okay, like I have a better chance of surviving there. So I go, and it was a very dangerous, a very like, just dangerous. I have a really cool story. I'm not gonna bore you with the details, but I beat some dude pretty bad with a skateboard. Honestly, probably within the first hour of me moving to Peckham Rye. He tried to rob me. It was the whole thing. But yeah, I was I had a flat in Waterloo near the skate park there. Interpol came and they caught me and they sent me back to America and I went to jail. And then from there, I was either homeless or incarcerated for the next quite handful of years. Then I was living in New York City again and I was homeless and I was, in the grasp of all types of addiction and conflict and all these problems. And then I had a buddy who had moved from New York to Miami, the Miami area, 2 years prior to this part of my story. He stayed in touch with my mother. She had found me. I was living in a place called Highbridge Park, which is like Spanish. It's in Washington Heights, which, if you know, it's like a extended part of Harlem. And she convinced me to get on a plane and move to Florida. So I went. He put me up. I got sober. I celebrated 10 years sober last month. And really,
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. And that's really how the journey began. So the last 10 years is like the noteworthy parts of my story.
When did your gambling sort of start? Because in Scotland, we call them fruit machines.
Mm.
It's like you put £1 in and you spin it and hopefully get like free cherries. Like my family used to do that with me, like when I was 3 and 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
We used to play a thing called chippy at school. So you get £1 or say a dime and you throw it to the wall. Whoever gets, there's 3, whoever gets it closer, you flick the coins up, heads or tails. If you get 2 heads, you'll take the 2, whatever, So I started gambling very young. I never realised the extent of how bad it would be as I got older. But when do you first started realising about gambling?
Well, I come from like a gambling neighborhood, and particularly my family, like loved to gamble. So I was exposed to it like as my earliest memories. Gambling was regular. Like if you come from a family where your whole family, I don't know what, makes music, like you get exposed to music like your whole life as a child. So it was like that for gambling with me. I probably learned how to gamble, I don't know, like 6 or 7 years old maybe, with my grandparents, just like we used say like coins, like pennies, dimes, nickels, and they just taught me some basic card games. And I spent so much time with them as a kid in the card rooms in New York that like I would just sit at the table sometimes and just watch all these people play and just slowly learn and whatever. My neighborhood was the whole neighborhood gambled, like parents, grandparents, kids, all that. We used to have a lot of underground gambling there, a lot of basement styled gambling every day after school, weekends, whatever. So probably like around age 11, 12, especially 13, especially 14, gambling was very prevalent in my community.
What about mum and dad?
My parents are great parents. They're great human beings. They're still married, never divorced. First marriage for them both. And they're great people. I was a very bad kid, and they tried everything to help me, like, get on a right path. They offered me everything. Like, I wasn't born into like a poor family. I wasn't born into like a broken home. None of that. Everything was the perfect setup for me to live a comfortable, stable, good life with like a good head start. But I just screwed everything up. I was such a bad kid. And eventually they just basically were like, we can't help you. You know, we've tried everything. You're destroying whatever we have left. We have to give you up. And then whoever wanted to take a jab at like raising me took over. You know, my uncle and aunt tried. I had friends' parents try, but I was such a bad kid. I just didn't get it. You know, I was such an idiot. And so that all of them would take me in for a short time. I was such a bad kid. I'd get thrown out and they'd say someone else has to raise you. And then eventually my grandparents took over. And even though I was just as bad to them as I was to everybody else, they just held on basically.
How hard is that? Did you ever feel like you were left out? Did you ever feel unloved? Or did you feel as if, did you know it was you that was a problem? Because it's not nice getting passed around. I was the same. Like, my mum and dad loved me to bits and I stayed there, but when I was being a little fucker, I would have to go to my aunties or other places.
Yeah.
And sometimes it would make me rebel more. It would make me piss people off more because I had the love. I probably just wanted more of it, but I didn't know how to handle the emotions of it.
You know, I don't know all the answers. I've thought about all this stuff, you know, and like when I was young, they made me go to therapy and they thought, you know, that could help. So I've talked to professionals and I've thought about, even as an adult, I think about it sometimes. I don't know the answer, honestly. I was a bad kid. I have no idea why I was a bad kid. Some kids are bad, some kids are good. You know, I was a really bad kid and I don't know why. And then I felt always different. I always felt like alienated or ostracized, but it was always my own doing. And I don't think I blamed anybody for it, but I definitely didn't. I wasn't like nice to, you know, like my aunt would take me in, for example. My aunt hated me, by the way. She like to this day wishes death upon me. Back then, she still hated me. She didn't wish death upon me like she does now, but she hated me. But she goes, "Oh, you're a poor kid. Like you don't understand. Like I'll teach you the way." You know, so she did me this favor, and I was so bad to her. You know, so like I didn't make it good for her, but I never like blamed her or anybody. My parents, nobody.
What was juvie like?
Really bad. There's actually a Netflix documentary. I went to 2 of them, and there's a Netflix documentary called The Programs, and the documentary is about both the places I went. It was really bad. They killed the kids, they abused us, starved us, beat us, all types of stuff.
I think when you are like an outsider, you tend to gravitate towards being bad. There was a video a man was talking about Rat Park. So they had 2 parks for rats.
Mm-hmm.
One had heroin in it, one had water, but the one had heroin, it had nothing in it. So the rats, they had heroin as water and just normal water. So the park with nothing in it, the rats would go to the heroin. But then there was a park with loads of other rats, toys, like little circuses, like it's crazy. And 99%, 100% it actually says the rats would go to the water. So it's to do with like being secluded and feeling like an outsider, you tend to gravitate towards addiction. Very interesting for anybody. I've just butchered it, by the way, but for anybody listening, go and check it out. Rat Park, it's on YouTube, very powerful, and it kind of made sense because I was always felt like an outsider and I ended up fucking with every addiction possible because it made me feel alive.
You know, being in AA, I hear the same story over and over again where it's, I felt different, I felt unique. And half the people say my external events is why I was different or felt different. Then the other half, like me, goes, it wasn't my external. I just felt different. I just never felt comfortable in my own skin. I just never felt a part of or accepted or whatever it is. And I think we all kind of look for like the same thing in any addiction, whether it be, you know, GA or AA or CA or whatever. It's like I'm just looking to not feel like me, you know? And then all of these addictions help us not feel like ourselves, because if ourselves the problem, if we don't feel like ourselves, we don't have that problem.
Did juvie make you worse?
Way worse. It made, oh my gosh, what an interesting question. Nobody really asked that. It made me way worse. What happened was, it was so bad, man. It was so bad that when I got out, I said to myself all the time, I go, nothing could ever be that bad. And so I had no fear of consequence anymore. I go, you want to send me to adult jail? Like, go ahead. You know, I'll go on the run until I'm ready. I'm going to, whatever. Because I always thought nothing could be as bad as it was. And I was right, by the way. Nothing could be that bad. It was a real bad place.
It cuts away the fear, which is a very dangerous thing.
What is it?
It cuts away the fear.
Cuts away the fear.
So it's very dangerous. Then you feel untouchable.
It's right. It made me worse, man, because I felt untouchable. I had no fear of the consequence. I go, I'm too old to go to that place. And if any place I'm going to go to moving forward is better than that place, I already went through the worst. Like, what are you going to do to me now?
What did you do after juvie?
So for like the first, I don't know exactly, you know, we're talking over over, I don't know, almost about 20 years ago, whatever it is. Yeah, 20 years ago. So I think I was like 9 or 12 months. We'll call it a year. We'll just overcompensate. We'll call it a year. For like a year, I was really good. You know, I watched my P's and Q's. I behaved. You know, I kept like, everything was like fine, but I was getting drug tests regularly. And all I really wanted to do back then was smoke weed. But you know, weed is 30 days in your system. But if you smoke crack, it's out in 3 days. So for me, I was like, I can do anything I want except smoke weed. And I learned that, like, call it like a year in. So about a year in, that's when I started like really going down that path. And then like all bets are off. You know, I'm like fully addicted, out of control, no fear of consequence. And I just started getting into like adult sized trouble.
What was it like smoking crack for the first time?
Phenomenal. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah, it's so good.
I had a girl on just a couple of weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
She called it snowballs. So she used to inject crack and heroin.
Yeah, me too.
Fucking hell, like.
You want to know what the best is? I'll tell you what I did. So what I used to do, so I like shooting, right? So I'll shoot anything. And I always had this theory that you don't know what'll get you high until you try it. So I used to just shoot everything and see what got me high. So I was prescribed Ambien, 10 milligrams of Ambien. So I just started shooting those. And the high from that is more intense than the high from anything else. So you said she called them snowballs.
Mm-hmm.
So we call them speedballs. In America, they're called speedballs. Like you do like meth and heroin or coke and heroin, whatever, in one needle speedball. So I would melt down crack. I'd use lemon juice. Do you know what Wawa is? You ever heard of Wawa?
No.
Wawa is like this 24-hour convenience store, basically, but they have everything. They're in the U.S. 24 hours, you go in, there's a tea bar, and they have like packets of like condiments, and it's a big container of each one. And one of them is all lemon juice for tea and coffee. You just reach in, grab as many packets of free lemon juice that you want. Like one packet will last you like a week of like shooting crack, you know? So you melt down crack, put heroin in it, and then put an Ambien in it and shoot those 3 in a needle. That's the best.
Did you ever OD?
Of course, so many times. Yeah.
Why do you think you're still alive?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Do you question it?
When I'm trying to be grateful, I think to myself, all of my friends are dead, you know? And me and my brother who went through this, we're both alive. So I do, when I'm trying to be grateful, I consider the fact that everything we went through and everybody who died, both of us should have died, but both of us are alive.
Even the tattoos as well. No disrespect to anyone. I've got massive tattoos on my back, my chest. Everyone I know, male, female with tattoos, are fucking psychos. Everyone, the more tattoos, the more chaotic. But there's so amazing people now who have changed their life. I've got friends who have done life in prison, full of tats, and now they're teaching people in schools and prisons. But going through that process, for me, it's like a sense of self-harming.
Yeah.
Now, like the big one in my back, I thought I was cool, big Jesus, big. I'm not even religious. I just thought, fuck it, because I went and got it done. Then I used to walk about with my top off. I had a shit body anyway, but I thought I've got a tattoo. It's like, because I've been in prison as well, but
Yeah.
I was scared going in at 22, 23. I'm thinking, I'm going to get fucking shagged in here. Like, I was like a handsome bastard, so I'm thinking, but when I went in, like, everybody was fucking on it.
Yeah.
They were on it, Valium, heroin, they were on, and I realised soon I didn't ever want to go back. It was easy. It wasn't like American prisons. You get the gym, I got to play football, which is soccer. Like, I had a pretty good, I actually enjoyed it, which is fucked up.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the headspace. It was free. I came out fit, but I also came out worse.
Mm-hmm.
I started walking about with like a swagger as like I earned my stripes.
Yeah.
But it's a fucked up environment, and when you're surrounded by fucked up people, you become fucked up yourself. It's just science.
You know, talking about you're saying like the more tattoos someone has, like the nuttier they are. I'll tell you this. Nobody's life was ever going great, and they said, you know what would make my life better? A face tattoo. Never happened. So, you know, like, yeah, tattoos are more accepted now and whatever. But if you really just look why somebody got a tattoo, it's all the same, by the way. It's always attention seeking. There's no reason in the world to have a tattoo other than you want attention. That's it. There's no reason in the world. And I know there's going to be people that watch this that are going to try to convince me otherwise. If they don't know what I look like, from the top of my head to my toes is tattooed. I know everything there is about the psychology of tattoos, as well as anything about tattooing, I know, right? You only get tattoos for attention. The question is, what type of attention? They're all very similar. You're not supposed to judge a book by its cover. I disagree.
We all do.
I think you have to.
Mm-hmm.
How else are you going to protect yourself? How else are you going to go places in life? You know, like if you want to, let's say you want a job, right? You want a big job in finance or banking or stocks or something. You're not going to go to a guy that is on the street sleeping in a cardboard box and say, hey, man, can I get a job? You're going to look at him and say, that man's probably homeless. He probably is worse than me. He probably cannot help me make a lot of money. I'm not going to ask him for a job. But then you see a guy walking out of a finance building wearing a nice suit and expensive watch, and you're going to judge him and go, he probably makes a lot of money in this building. I'm going to ask him for the job. You have to judge people. When it comes to tattoos, especially face tattoos, again, nobody's life is going good, and they said a face tattoo will make it better. Something is wrong with people's brains who get face tattoos. There's no question. The likelihood that they have recovered from that state of mind are super slim. I know people, and I'd like to think of myself as one, who had a broken brain of sorts, got my face tattooed. All these years later, with tremendous work and effort, I've recovered from that train of thought, right? That type of thinking. And now I'm like a good guy in society. It's super rare that happens. Most people, their lives are terrible while they get a face tattoo. Their lives stay terrible forever. You should judge a person with face tattoos. They're probably a bad person. They probably have a broken brain, and they're probably not going to do anything positive for your life. You know what I mean? Yet they and I still got these tattoos knowing that those things are all true and people will judge us.
Is that like a protection as well? Because if you see someone with a tattoo, you automatically think bad boy. It's like, if someone gets abused, some of them actually put on weight so nobody gives them any attention. So if you're on that system and being homeless and on the streets, could it possibly be like a defense where it gives you some sort of protection that you are bad?
Do people scar their face with tattoos as a way to protect themselves? I wonder if what I'm thinking means the same thing. What I'm thinking is that people are so hurt on the inside that they want their outsides to match, which is why they scar themselves in a way for the world to see. You know, it's like, I'm hurting so bad, you don't see that I'm hurting, you can't feel what I'm feeling. I want to show you what I'm feeling. So they scar their faces with tattoos, maybe.
I don't really know the psychology about it, but everyone I know with the fit, because I was going to get the big neck tattoo.
Terrible idea.
Stuff. Yeah, and this was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank fuck I didn't, because the ones I'm getting lasered are just as sore.
Me too. I've been lasering my face for 6 or 7 years now. 7 years now. Yeah.
So what did you do after the streets? 18, 19? How was life?
Well, 18, 19, I was either homeless or incarcerated. I didn't come to quality life. So when I was 24, I was homeless. I got sober while I was homeless. Then I made it to my friend's house. He put me up for a bit. I got my first job. I was I worked in a tattoo shop, literally scrubbing toilets and mopping floors. Like, they'd give me like a 20 and be like, hey, go out and get us lunch. I don't know what you call that, but that's what I did. Then I started doing a day labor, like construction. First we did demolition, then construction. Then I got taught how to do that. A guy to this day, his name's Sean Dalton, became one of my best friends through this. He gave me my first real job, paid me $100 a day, and that was that. And then one thing led to another, and then I not slowly, actually very fast, I started working different jobs and getting promotions and raises, and then one thing led to another, and then I started building a pretty beautiful life.
What made you want to get clean? What was the turning point? Especially very young. I was 30, 31. I read a book called The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. It was all about the present moment. And I started to understand that. I understand that you could change the way you think and feel. When you've no role models, when you've no inspiration, where the fuck are you going to turn? All you know is drink, drugs, and violence. So when I started reading, the first book I ever read, and then I listened to the audiobook. This guy's a boring bastard. Like, his voice is so soft. I would fall asleep. He rings a bell every chapter, but I would just fall asleep because I'm used to chaos. My life is going good now, and I think it's boring, but it's not. It's just peaceful. I don't know the chaos and peaceful.
I struggle with that still. When my life's going too good and too calm, I have to do something to screw it up, subconsciously. I can't. The stability and calmness is really hard to stay in.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah, 100%.
Everyone does that though. Relationships, money. It's all we know.
Not everybody. Just guys and girls that are screwed up. Most people choose safe, stable, and calm. You go to a bank and there's a teller there. That teller's life is usually stable and calm. You go to a restaurant, there's a server, usually stable and calm. There's only a small percentage of people who live in chaos, self-derived chaos. But I also think there's only a small certain people that succeed beyond norms. And I think a lot of times it's the same group. Like you seek chaos, you seek like commotion and all this stuff you were just describing. Before this podcast started, you told me what your schedule is. And I said, why? And what you basically said is, I have a crazy schedule and I will go to the edge of earth for my company, my business, and to succeed. That is thriving in chaos. You can't thrive in chaos until you're in chaos and have mastered it. So we're this bank teller who most people, like 99% of the world, live stable and calm. They don't seek chaos like we're describing. But they also will rarely seek success either.
But it's a fine balance as well. Would I want the average 9 to 5 as well? I do look at people and think, like, they're blessed. They have their stability. They know when they take their holidays. Mine's is just fucking all over. Like mine, I've got 3 kids to 3 different women. I travel the world. I've 2 fucking Rottweilers. Like, my life is nuts. But I love it because when it's not nuts, I take the foot off the gas. When it's crazy again, I think different. I navigate myself through it and actually become better. But when there's nothing to navigate through, I think, okay, what's the point? I question life. Like, I'm fucking so deep thinker. People think that guy is fucking crazy. And by the way, he's alright. But I'm just saying, like, life is crazy, bro. But it's also a beautiful thing. My mind is a contradiction. Sometimes I want to be in the woods, farmhouse, away from every cunt. People annoy me. My job is to talk. When I'm out in the streets, I don't want to talk to anyone. You know, I want to stay. It's like hibernation. But then, on the other hand, I want to go and buy the nice car, the nice watch, travel the world, best hotels, best food. It's like an inner battle consistently of trying to be something that I'm not, or trying to. It's crazy.
You know, I feel very similarly. Very much.
But this is life, you know. Whatever cards we've been dealt, we've obviously playing them the right way. We're still here. We've got a beautiful life. We're in a great place. You know, we're having a conversation that hopefully people can understand.
Yeah, I don't see how people are going to understand. You sound like this in every interview?
Yeah, fucking right.
And people still watch?
Yeah, I know. Subtitles.
You put subtitles on every one of his episodes? Oh, yeah. Has to.
And some of the subtitles can't keep up, though.
If you were speaking Spanish to me, I think this would go the same.
Better. Yeah. So the turning point for your life, the turning point, what was the moment? Because we all have moments. I tried to quit many times and relapsed. But what was the moment for you, especially so young?
I was just over. You know, I had tried to get sober so many times, but they were like half-availed measures. Half measures. You know, they were half measures, and they never worked. And then it was so be it. And then this last time, I was just over. I actually didn't want to get sober. Like that, I didn't plan on getting sober. I just gave up. I gave up on everything, life, addiction, I just gave up. And I said, I was still living in the same box I was getting high in. And I got sober in that box in, it's called Highbridge Park, which is in Washington Heights. That's exactly where I was living. And I just said, I'm going to lay here till I die or till something intervenes. And it was my mom that intervened through my buddy that was in Miami, Charlie. And like, I had no fight in me, you know? It was wintertime. I got sober December 11, 2015. You know, it was the middle of winter in New York. Everything covered in snow. Everything's freezing. I lived outside in a park. And she's like, I forget. I don't even have a clear memory of it, how she got how she got to me. But she said, you can go to Florida. I'll pay for your ticket and Charlie will put you up. And the idea of like Miami Beach is like better than where I am now. And I have no fight. I was like, go or don't go. Like, I'm going to lay here and die, you know? And so I just got on the plane, and then day after day after day, I started getting my strength back, feeling better. He fed me, you know, and that's it. It just happened. It just happened, you know? And I had no fight. So when he told me, he's like, go back to meetings. I was like, okay. And, you know, I walked to a meeting. He goes, did you get a sponsor? I go, no. And he goes, get a sponsor tomorrow. I'm like, okay. Go back to a meeting. I'm like, hey, I need a sponsor. I'm like, okay. He'll, you work steps yet? I go, no. And he goes, well, work your steps at your sponsor. I'm like, okay. I'm like, hey, can we work steps? I had no fight to think that I knew better than him. I had no fight to combat his ideas. I would have taken guidance from anybody who was more powerful than me at that moment. You know, anybody, even a bum on the street could have said something to me, and I just said, okay, you know. I had no fight left. I was like empty inside.
Were you ever suicidal?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Did you ever try?
Yeah, I have a lot of suicide attempts for sure. obviously all unsuccessful. I had a running joke for a while that I was so bad at life I couldn't even kill myself good.
Yeah, that's when you know you're rock bottom, bro.
Yeah.
But ain't it mad though how life can do a full, I don't know if it's a 360 or a 180, but it can go a totally different direction.
You just say you didn't know if it was a 360 or
Yeah, people say a 360, but I think
360 doesn't make sense.
it takes you straight back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
360 is
think,
wrong.
yeah, but people do say that.
Yeah,
and,
well, people are idiots.
But yeah, I think that. But then again, is that the right sort of term?
180.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how was it feeling when you started getting strength and started understanding there's more to give life?
You know, it was an interesting journey because I never stopped to smell the roses, right? I never like thought about it. Charlie was like, get a sponsor, work steps, go to meetings, cool. He goes, Charlie picked me up at the airport when my mom sent me down. And I know the area he lived in. And I mean, I knew that area because I had been there before. He drove me past his area and I was like, where are we going? And he goes, you have no money. You offer me nothing. You're an absolute liability and I'm taking you in for free. You're going to work at my friend's tattoo shop and they're not going to pay you. But in lieu of that, I'll let you stay at my house for free. I'm like, all right. He gave me, I think, $20. I had to take the bus every day to and from work. I had to walk to the bus stop, right? It was, I think it was $1.80 each way. So I just go. Like, that was it. Like, that's what I was told to do. That's what I did. I didn't even think about it. Then he goes, okay, now you're going to work steps. Cool. I just start working steps. He goes, now you're going to work this real job and get paid. It's because of him that I even met Sean, like gave me my first real job doing like day labor, construction and stuff. And then Sean was like, I'm going to pick you up at 7 a.m. I'm like, all right, you know, and then and Sean was sober too. Then after work, he goes, now you're going to find a ride and go to a meeting. I go, how am I going to find a ride? He goes, I'm going to take you today. You're going to get a list of numbers from men at that meeting. You're going to call every single one of them before you go to bed and arrange a meeting for tomorrow after work. I'm like, okay. I did that. The next day he goes, you did it? I go, yeah. He goes, do it again. I was like, okay. And it's like every day I was just taking direction from these other men. It just happened. And then someone was like, hey, you should work more hours. You'll make more money. I'm like, cool. Then I work more hours. Then I had a supervisor come and go, hey, do you want a promotion? You're doing all this work and we're not, paying you enough for it, basically. I'm like, yeah, I'll take a promotion. And then it was like that. I never like thought about it. I just did it,
Yeah, that's the thing though, when for anybody watching or listening, when you actually cut away negatives, things actually happen for the better.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is so important, like vibration and whatever you want to call it, you can detox from it and bigger things and better things happen.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, the self-sabotage kicks in. See, when you're working, you're clean. Did you ever think about going and fucking it again because it was too good to be true?
There was a handful of times over these last 10 years that I've been sober that I've considered, I think like with no emotion, just pure like logic, I go, can I go back to using successful? Do I want to? What would my life look like? Can I successfully use? Can I use without destroying my, I've thought about it. And every time I go, I've tried it before. I go, all that would happen now is I would fall that much further, that much harder, and have that many more bigger consequence, and I can't dodge death that many times. So then there's the logic half. The other half, which is the emotional, right? Like the idea of relapse, like a non-controlled, like an unconsensual relapse, basically, against my will. There were a few times in the last 10 years that I was probably close to relapse against my will. Obviously, I haven't, but there was a few times for sure. But luckily, through the program, I've had like the right tools in place, like a sponsor, a network, this or that, or like a understanding, et cetera, et cetera. There's meetings accessible everywhere. There's always like a helping hand, someone will always help you if you're in a weak moment. And like, those are the things that kind of got me through. And God, by the way, God for sure.
What about plans? Did you have any plans? Did you have any purpose other than staying clean and just trying to do the right thing? Did you see yourself being where you are now?
No, definitely not. So the first, call it like, I don't know. So like the first year was just surviving. Like I don't even have much memory of it. I just like followed direction. Boom, get a job. Boom, take your paycheck, open a bank account. Like I'm like, okay, just trying to learn how to be a human because I'd never, done anything adult before. I was homeless or incarcerated up until then. So like you have to open a bank account. How do I do that? Well, you have to have an ID first. Okay, how do you do that? Like basic human stuff. And then someone, they would say, okay, you should work more, work harder, work better, get it, whatever. And I started making money and I go, this is cool because now I have money, like real money for the first time. I got a vehicle. Now I'm starting to experience things. They're like, hey, you should take a girl out on a date. That girl over there likes you. I'm like, okay, take her on a date. I go, it's a great time. You know, we'd hook up after. I'm like, oh, I was sick. You know, I want to do that more. So I just kept going for like this, almost like this more factor, work more hours, make more money, do more things. And then it just kept building. And it just, I don't know. I had no plan. It just happened. I just understood that at some point I started to understand if I work harder, I make more money. If I make more money, I can do more things. I just kept on with that. And then I started a couple companies. They did really good. I worked really hard. I had nothing else going on. You know, it's just like work and sobriety. That was it. I started making a bunch of money. I had 2 business partners. They were my 2 best friends. One was murdered. The other disappeared. So I ended up taking our company as a whole, made a big financial success, sold the company. And I had a girl that lived with me for a lot of years. She and I split up around the same time. So like all these things happened at once, and now I'm basically completely alone. I have all this money, and I was like, I'm gonna move. I'm gonna try something new. And that's when I went to LA. I was in LA. I always loved to gamble, you know, like I said, like I grew up with it. When I moved to LA, COVID happened like 2 months later or something like that. And when COVID happened, they shut the city down, but Vegas was still open. So I had one friend who lived in LA who also is a huge gambler. So he would take me to Vegas once a week, basically. We'd meet people, party, hang out, and start gambling. And then that sort of led into the gambling career.
What was your go-to in gambling?
Usually it was blackjack. I started playing baccarat while I still lived in Florida because you could bet bigger, like just automatic off the street. They have much bigger betting limits. But I always was a real blackjack player. Then when I moved to LA and was going to Vegas, it was probably 70% blackjack, 30% baccarat. And sprinkled in like all the other games just for fun, like entertainment. You know, I played anything. And then as I started playing bigger and bigger, I wanted to bet bigger. I started making deals with the casinos, and they let me bet 250,000 US per hand in baccarat, 75,000 US per hand in a 6-deck blackjack, which I didn't play, and 50,000 a hand US in double deck blackjack, which I did play. So basically the 2 games I preferred, double deck and baccarat, I could bet $250,000 and 50K. And I just want to bet more money, bet more, win more, you know? So I have a 5x bet sizing by just switching to baccarat full time, which is basically what happened.
What's the maximum bet for baccarat?
I had 250K. Actually, the truth is they actually offered me 300K, but the terms during our negotiations to qualify for the 300K baccarat bet were not advantageous to me as a player. It made way more sense for me to just accept the $50,000 lesser bet for all the better terms I have on the back end.
So how did you end up becoming like professional and with the mind? Did you always have that sort of camera mind where you memorize things or calculated? Like how did your mind work? Do you think that's where drugs come in as well, to slow it down? Do you see things different?
You know what's interesting? I did a so this company that makes big movies out in LA, they had reached out to me and they said, we'd like to do like a private study on you, or I want to learn your brain. I said, sure, sounds interesting. So they started to like, bro, we did every day for like 4 months or something, like not every day, but almost every day, like for 3-4 days a week for all those months. We'd sit for like an hour on Zoom and just ask me questions, talk to me and stuff. And they came back and said that they think that basically we just said that drugs were the way to slow down my brain. That I was like almost overzealous, you know, like
Chemical imbalance?
yeah, right. And that drugs were the way to sort of they believe that I used drugs initially to get control over my thoughts.
When I was at parties, see, when I used to sniff, I was neither up or down. Used to get people sitting, their fucking jaw was all over the place or they were just out of it. I was always in control. You know, I felt, that's why I could go so long. I was neither up or down. Look, it was fucking nuts. Did you ever do like CAT scans?
I've done CAT scans for like, in my life, but I've never done it to like try to understand how my brain works or anything.
Because addictions it's a mad thing, especially gambling. The power of gambling, majority of people actually gamble because they lose. They get more dopamine hit from the loss than the actual win.
For sure.
So if I was, say I bet on American football -7 handicap, see if they were 30 points in front, I would have to put another bet on because the bet had fucking win. Instead of just enjoying it, I had no feeling. So I would put another bet on of -37 and it was just, it's like, I didn't realise this until I tried to understand the mind, understand my mind, understand the neural pathways. And it's like a hit of heroin when you're gambling. But the hit is bigger when you lose, not when you win.
100%.
Like, it's fucked up.
100%. But that's also the difference between a gambling addict and a not gambling addict. Is there's a chemical that gets released in your brain when you lose, but not when you win. Which is why gambling addicts aren't by nature bad gamblers, right? That's not the problem. The problem is their brain becomes addicted to the chemical that's released when you lose. So you could win, like you just said, you win the first bet. That's a great bet. The good gambler, you won. But then your brain says, I don't feel that. I don't feel anything. And you have to keep betting until you lose. Then the chemical gets released. Then you feel that thing. You feel that something. And you go, okay, now I feel satisfied.
Yeah, buying the buzz. You're just paying the buzz.
All right.
So when you started betting big, when did you start becoming a problem for the casinos? When did they start looking into you? Because they know everything anyway.
So I would say the relevant part of my gambling was over the course of 3 years. The first year was during COVID when I was just trying to get away from LA and like be somewhere where there's people, right? Like make friends, meet girls, like go out, whatever. And I was playing basically every week. And I was playing like 20K, 30K. If I was like feeling crazy, maybe 50K that week. And I was winning more weeks than I was losing, but I wasn't going to make money. That wasn't my objective. You know, my objective was just to meet people. And I had all this money from selling the business. Yes, I was winning, but I don't think neither myself nor they thought anything of it other than I was getting lucky. And probably a lot of it was luck. Then somewhere during the second year, my buddy and I, who was the same guy, we kept going together, we just kind of had a conversation. We're like, what happens if we buy in with an extra zero? Instead of buying in 20K, what if we bought in 200K? Okay, let's give it a shot. We're winning. We're profitable. So like if we lose, it's no big deal. Let's try it. So we tried it. And what happened was our cash out that week had a zero. Instead of winning 20K, we won 200. And we go, okay, let's try it again. So we go back to next week, same deal, buy in for 200, 300 or so, win 200, 300 or so. So we kept doing that. Roughly halfway into that year, so now we're talking about 18 months in, 6 months after buying in for 6 figures, I had my first $1 million win. I won 1 1/4, 1.25. And we looked at each other and we celebrated, of course, but it was like, yo, like we made $1 million this week. Like this is cool, you know? Sort of decided from then on out, we're just buying in for $1 million or better and seeing what happens. So then around there, we started buying in for $1 million. And when you're buying in for $1 million, a lot of things change. When you're buying in for 6 figures, they don't really, yeah, you get perks, but people win and lose 6 figures every day in Vegas and nobody cares. But when you buy in for $1 million or better, then things change. Then they're rolling out red carpets. Then they're looking at your background. Then they're making deals with you. Then everyone's trying to shake your hand and jerk you off and like all that. And that's when we started to really maneuver. Roughly 6 months after that, so now 2 years have passed in this portion, and we enter the 3rd year of the gambling, and I would buy in for, my average buy-in was $3 million. I'd come with either cash or a cashier's check, buy in for $3 million, and that's where I was, it worked out to be about $1 million a week in net profit, but we didn't play every week at that point. I'd buy in for 3, let's say I won $2 million, we wouldn't show up for 2 weeks. Come back 2 weeks later, I'd win $7 million. We wouldn't show up for, 7 weeks or whatever. Whatever it is. It just worked out that way. And rough. So in the beginning.
Was that planned to take breaks and not really take the piss? Were the red flags would arise?
So it wasn't. Okay, so a little bit. Around that 18-month mark, when we started buying in for 7 figures, some casinos started to act. Some started to roll out the red carpet and act like, oh, this is a big deal. You're buying in for $1 million, like whatever. And then some of them, like 2, started to act a little odd. They were giving me better perks when I was a 6-figure player than a 7-figure player. And me and my buddy thought that was weird, right? They're like, why would all these other casinos be so exciting that now we're playing for millions instead of hundreds of thousands. But like you two want to apply pressure and like you won't give me a jet anymore.
They're the smart ones.
Well, we come to find out, right? So like that's weird. So we started gravitating towards the ones that were nicer to us, and not because we were nice to them, but because we found leverage. We found we use their niceness as weakness. You know, for my negotiating reasons, the nicer they were to me, the easier it was to manipulate and get the negotiations I wanted. When we hit the 24-month mark, entering the third and final year before I got banned, that was when we were fighting every day with casinos. That's when it started. Like any single day, they might ask me to leave. They might, and the way it happened is they also didn't know what to do. So a lot of them didn't come out and say, hey, you're banned, get out now and never come back. Some of them would be like, we don't know what's happening. Let's try to study him. We know we're going to get rid of him, but let's just try to see if he's cheating. We'll get our money back and he'll go to prison. So to keep me around a little bit, but only in ways that were good for them. Right. So it was this cat and mouse game that we started to see in the third year. Throughout that third year, most of them threw in the towel. The last two that held out the longest was MGM Grand, but not the rest of the MGM properties. It was MGM Grand specifically, and the Sands, which is Venetian and Palazzo. It's two towers attached, owned by the Sands. So those two companies were the last ones. For the last 6 months, those were the only two I had. And then in the exact same day, at the exact same moment, the two of them at the same time decided to ban me. And that was the end of it. That was the
Why would they two keep you going? Is it an investigation maybe to try and catch you cheating?
MGM hates my guts. I hate their guts. We don't have communication. I don't have like inside info anymore over there. I did for a little while, but at the Sands, I still have inside information. This is what I know about the Sands. As a matter of fact, I did an interview with, you know, Adam 22?
Yeah.
One of my interviews with him, we brought on a staff from MGM and an old surveillance guy from the Sands. This guy's name is Jake. So he worked surveillance. Turns out it was exactly his job to watch me anytime I came on their property to figure out how I was winning and if I was cheating. Like he was the guy. He ended up quitting that job. It was like his whole life. That's what he did. He quit because he wanted to do something in Hollywood or whatever. And that's when he hit me up. He came on that interview to discuss what happened inside the surveillance booth for the third year that I gambled at Venetian and Palazzo. They would study me. They had a team of 5 people that would study me every time I came on property, and every time I left, they would take any cards I played with, dissect the cards. They would do anything they could to try to figure out how I was winning. So for them, I believe strongly that they thought I was getting lucky or that I was cheating. And if I was getting lucky, eventually I would lose. So to them, they were like, our bottom line won't be affected no matter how much he wins. Keep him around for a while. And I'll lose all the money I made at the other casinos. I'll lose to them. And then I think they changed their mind and they go, no, he's definitely cheating because he's not losing it back and he should have by now. Let's find out how he's cheating. And when they couldn't figure that out because I wasn't cheating, that's when they gave me the boot. But they did it in partnership with MGM. They kicked me out together. I don't know why MGM kept me that long. And I believe they kept me because in the beginning they thought it was luck, and then they thought for sure I was cheating and they wanted to catch me.
What would they have done if you were cheating?
Your first offense is 5 years in prison. And I'm sure they would have sued me civilly and I would have had to give all the money back.
Is counting cards cheating? Is that
Counting
just
cards
frowned upon?
It's not cheating, it's just frowned upon.
So counting cards, how many decks in LA, in the casinos in Vegas? Is it 2, 8?
They offer, technically they offer everything. The majority is either 2 decks or 6 decks. They do also offer single, they offer 8, and they offer continuous shuffle, but 6 deck and 2 deck is what's relevant.
What would be easier to count? 1 deck?
No, the problem with 1 deck is I think they only deal out 12 hands per shoe. And in 12 hands, you can get a count on 12 hands, but it doesn't really help you figure out what's next with that such a short sample size per shoe.
How corrupt are these sort of casinos? Are they corrupt to the core or are they...
To the core.
Are we still talking? Obviously, it was a mafia who started. Was it Bugsy Siegel?
Bugsy Siegel and Maya
back in the day. Is that still run by, or is it more businessmen?
Nah. Yeah, it's all corporate now, for sure. Yeah.
And how corrupt would you say they are? Like, do these casinos cheat?
100%.
Everyone?
Yeah, you see the thing I sent you?
Mm-hmm. But it's everyone?
Yeah, 100%.
What was the thing with the card machine that you says not to use if the machine cuts the cards itself?
I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. There's a few things. I mean, easiest, never use a continuous shuffle. Like just straight up, like they only have that on the lowest limit tables. And there's a reason, because anybody who's smart enough to like do anything would know right away that's a bad idea. So they keep it there for the idiots. So if you use a continuous shuffle, the casino's calling you an idiot. Then they have, you ever play, and they, at the end of the shoe, right, at the end of the dealing, they put all the cards in this little machine. The machine goes down, it shuffles, pops back up, dealer deals. Those aren't shuffle machines. They're card organizers. They have like cameras. They're called lasers, but or they're called eyes, but they're cameras basically that are registering every card in there, and they're creating the order the cards go in. And I've been saying this for all this years. And then finally, from the end, I don't know if you follow in Europe, but the NBA cheating scandal, which led into the poker scandal. So the poker scandal. So now all these casino experts had to come out and discuss the cheating at these poker games, where they acknowledged that they also own the exact same technologies that I've described for all these years, and that they do have the capability of cheating, and that they're card organizers, not shufflers.
That was it the NBA as well?
It started with, what really happened was the NBA, there's NBA players and coaches who got caught allegedly rigging games because they were betting on it secretly. When they got caught doing that, it led into an investigation that led into poker games that a lot of these NBA players were playing in, that those games were being cheated. When that came out and was proven to be true, they needed casino cheating experts. But they just needed casino people to come and say, is this legit? Like, are they cheating these poker games? The casino experts came forward and said yes. So the question was, well, how do you know that they're cheating? How do you know that that device is a card organizer, not a card shuffler? And they had to say, because we have it too.
What's the easiest one to win on? What's the easiest game?
To win?
Yeah.
Like assuming there was no cheating, like just the game itself. Technically, it'd be baccarat because you don't have to know anything.
Is that 45% win chance?
Way better. It's virtually 50-50. It's not exact, but it's almost 50-50. And you don't have to know anything to play that game. Like, you can just win, you know?
What is the rules for people who don't know?
So baccarat is a game. It's a card game. Excluding all the side bets, we'll just talk about the main bet itself. You have an option for banker or an option for player. Banker does not mean the house. It just means red or blue, seat 1, seat 2. It doesn't matter. So there's two options. Either before the cards come out, you bet on either banker or player. Each side gets 2 cards. When you add the digits of the cards together using single digit, meaning a 19 is a 9, an 18 is an 8, a 10 is a 0, using your 2 cards and you add them together, closest to 9 wins.
Your biggest win is over 11 million?
My biggest single session win is $11,526,000.
Tell me this, do you ever feel satisfied?
Nah, I wish. By the way, that was the win that MGM and the Sands banned me for the final time. Like, that was the end of it. My biggest win was the last time I played. And if I had really, really known that, I would have gone about it way different. I did not appreciate what I just did. I did not appreciate what happened. I did not get to enjoy it. I was pretty desensitized. And I think looking back, like, I've thought about this. Like, if I really knew, like, that was my last time, man, I would have enjoyed that win different, you know?
How so?
I didn't even enjoy it. I didn't have a chance. Like, we won. I didn't even win the 11.5 when they banned me. They banned me before, like, I was winning close. I forget what I was winning, like 9.5 million or something like that. And they banned me. They came with security. It was this whole thing. And I told them, I was like, yo, I got like 9.5 million in chips in the safe. Like, I need to cash it out before you escort me off property. And I told them, I go, I don't want you guys around me because I'm scared one of you might rob me. And so they were just thinking, I guess, like, that makes sense, you know? They go, no problem. You have 30 minutes to cash out and get off property. And I go, fine. So what me and my best friend did instead was we took the chips and we ran down and we played as long as we could until we got caught playing more. So the table that I played at is right next to the cage. It was at MGM Grand at the Mansions. So the entrance to the Mansions comes through a back way to get into the high limit. The cage is like halfway through, but it's like kind of towards the towards the other side of high limit, and there was a baccarat table right there. So all I had to do was turn left and cash out my chips. Instead, I turned right and I sat down. Me and Ian sat down. We just played as fast as we could. And we only stopped playing when security came to the table and like physically removed us. And I'd hit the 11,526,000 right there. So it's like a very like aggressive, not violent, but you know, like high stress. You know what I mean? Like,
Is that because you knew it was coming to an end?
well, they had already banned me. They banned me like 10 minutes prior. They came up into my villa and they said, "We're done here. Get your stuff and get out of here." I go, "All right, but I got to go cash these chips. I don't want you guys coming. Like, I'm scared for it's a lot of money. I'm scared to have all you strange men with guns walking around when I have all this money. I need some privacy." Like, go ahead. So, but instead of turning to the left to the cage, I turned to the right to the table. I won a couple million more. But by then, they probably noticed on camera. So they called to security, which was still waiting for me in my villa, waiting for me to return and get my stuff, you know? So they probably called there and they're like, "He's at the table, get him, you know? So then they come sprinting down and grab me and Ian. It was like a whole thing. And then they try to short me for $1 million on the cash out. You know, I had to get a lawyer involved. There's a whole thing. So when all this was said and done, I never I never even had a chance to like process that win. And then the first thing I did was I took that money and I locked it up in this investment account I have. Because if you give me enough leeway, I'll probably flip a coin for all the money in the world, you know?
Fuck it, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would give it up as well for a flip of a coin.
Yeah. So to protect me from myself, I locked up all that money right away. And when I locked it up, I like, you know, I was like, I almost like left myself like, I don't even know, like as if the money never touched my hands, as if it didn't exist. Like when I left LA to go to Vegas that week, when I got back to LA, like I personally had the same exact amount of money, you know? All I did was put myself through the stress, put myself through this pressure, deal with all this stuff. Yeah, I made the money, but I put the money in an investment account that I never splurged. Like I never spent that money. It went straight into investments. You know what I mean? So when I went back to LA, it was as if like nothing happened. And I never really got to appreciate that win.
Are you ever happy?
Yeah.
When?
I like riding dirt bikes. I like playing paintball. I like go-karting too.
Yeah, I
I
like
was
go-karting.
Bro, I was in Thailand last week and me and my chick were driving. I got a motorcycle. We're just driving around town and we found this place that has these go-karts. They have they have some kind of like fastest go-kart with no restrictions, something. Anyway, bro, they were so sick, man. I had such a good time. They were so fun.
So have you got to get your adrenaline kick from bungee jumping, parachuting, all that sort of shit, go-karts, fast-paced?
Yeah, I find that stuff fun. I like that. Yeah, I love that stuff. That stuff always puts a smile on my face.
I'm going off topic, but have you ever done ayahuasca?
No. I almost did. Almost trying to get sober. I almost did it. And then I just went AA.
Yeah, I done it in Costa Rica.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It was cool?
I was tripping balls, bro.
You're sick as a dog for the first
I was
half,
okay because I followed everything. I was going in a good place. My sponsors and stuff at the start were telling me not to go because it's a drug. I thought, fuck that, because I was making a documentary. So it gave me in my mind, I created a free pass. I'm doing it for good. I'm doing it to help. Yeah. So I ended up fucked, and they kept telling me to surrender. And I think, I ain't fucking surrendering. I'm from Scotland. We fight. Like, surrenders for me is like waving a white flag.
Yeah.
So I had all these shamans like rubbing my heart, strong heart. But I'm a control freak. So I was trying to control it. It never worked. I ended up more fucked, actually. Fucked. But it was Costa Rica. Beautiful. Met some amazing people.
They're so powerful. You can control that.
Yeah,
so
but I tried to. Great experience. Glad I done it. I'm still in a great place. Life is going amazing. But yeah, I just think with your mind as well, it's just trying to understand that. Because it's you should be proud, by the way, of what you've done, what you've overcome, to what you've achieved. Like, it's unbelievable. I don't think people say it enough to people, like, proud of you, you know? It goes underappreciated. That's why a lot of your videos is about your gambling, casinos, and fuck all that shit. It's addictions, the pain, the struggle, the homelessness, the overcoming that. That's where people can get inspiration. Gambling's for mugs. 99.9% of people fail. Right. You know, so this is only a very small percentage who've seen a system, stuck to it and beat it.
The only counter I have to that is that you want to give me a pat on the back for just doing what everybody else in the world is doing. You're like, congratulations, you didn't smoke crack today.
What about the Bruno Mars story I seen?
You know what's crazy, man? While it was happening, it happened at MGM. I was living in MGM while it happened. So all the executives that were dealing with him were dealing with me at the same time. So we'd go out together and everybody would discuss it. So I had said before on camera, like, yeah, like, he lost 52 or 53 million, and now he has to like work it off through all these shows and blah, 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 blah. And nobody made a thing about it. 4 years later, all of a sudden it's like the most buzzing topic. But yeah, it was like, it was probably, I don't know, 5 years ago or something like that. Yeah.
So is he working to pay off his debt?
Yeah. That's why he's like the poster child for MGM because they get all the free work out of him.
What about Dana White? Did he not say you cheat?
He said I cheat.
Yeah.
Dana said, bro, Dana said not nice things about me on camera.
Yeah, why?
I don't know why. So he was on Flagrant, and they said, what do you think of Mikki Mase? And he goes, I don't know him. I'm thinking like, Dana, we talk like every week. Like, what are you talking about? But Dana, if you look right now, Dana follows me on Instagram right now to this day. Me and him been on live stream. Me and him made videos. Me and him gamble together. Me and him, I thought we're friends. I thought we were good friends or friendly anyway. Then he says that, and they go, you don't know him? And he goes, nah. And I'm like, I don't know why you would say that. Then they go, well, yeah, you got banned for winning too much or whatever they said to him. And he goes, he said Vegas won't ban anybody, even though he's been banned. There's videos of him being banned. He's talked about being banned on camera. So I go, what is he going on with all these lies about? Then he says, if anybody banned you in Vegas, it's because you were cheating. I go, that's weird because you were banned from places. I'm thinking about him, right? And so after the video comes out, they send it to me. They go, just so you know, this is what was said by Dana about you. They send it to me. I go, okay. So I just messaged Dana. I go, Dana, what's good, bro? Read it, never replied. And I haven't seen him since. That was in it, but he still follows me.
Maybe he's been told from the casinos to stay back. Maybe they've told him a lot of shit.
Well, so he owns the UFC. His partners in that, the Fertitta brothers, they also own Stations Casinos, which is like Red Rock and Durango, where Dana brings all the influencers and celebrities for marketing purposes to gamble there. So I'm also banned from there, and they banned me pretty bad. So there is a world that exists where his partners in the UFC, who also own casinos that have banned me, said, we've banned Mikki. He's bad for business. You should stay clear of him. And he's obviously going to side with his partners that own the UFC with him, and just simply that one sentence alone would make Dana pretend that he doesn't know me.
Yeah, but it's still upsetting if someone's your friend and you think these are cool to then speaking shit. A simple message, look, I can't be friends, such and such, putting it to bed.
You can literally just Google Mikki Mase, Dana White together, and you'll see all the videos of us and all whatever, man.
Is he a good gambler on blackjack? Or is it all made up shit?
I've never seen his casino win-loss statements, so I can only speak on what I think based on information I've gotten and computed myself. I think that he's a good blackjack player. He's been banned from casinos. Do I think he's up tremendous money? I guess the word tremendous is all relative. I'm going to totally make up a story right now because I have no idea if this is real. Basically, the only place he gambles is at Red Rock and Durango, which is owned by the Fertitta brothers, who own the UFC. Dana also owns the UFC with them. Every time Dana plays there are 1 million cameras, and he brings every one of his celebrity and influencer friends there to watch him gamble and gamble with him. I can imagine a world where anytime he's gambling, it's not real money because it's his business partner's casino, but what is real money is all the money of all the celebrities he brings there to gamble, and all of them will lose.
So he's playing as if he's betting big to get everybody else to bet. That's smart, though.
I don't know if it's a fact. I wasn't in any of, I'm not in those back rooms with him and the Fertittas, but I suppose there's a world where that could exist.
I know a few guys in the UFC, and the money they get is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I wonder if they ever think of the money potential that they say they're losing and winning in casinos while they're getting paid buttons.
I don't know.
But like I say, it's business, and they've done amazing to get to the UFC where it's at. Those are worth 20 billion, 15 billion now.
There's a lot, especially with the WWE partnership or whatever.
Is there any other big gamblers, high rollers, celebrity world?
There's a lot, yes, for sure. Gambles big as Drake, not on stake. That's all fake. But like in real life, like he gambles big. He does in real life. Lil Baby gambles big. There's a lot of business guys. They actually gamble the biggest.
See, when you win and you've got that cash, like, what's the feeling?
This is my guess, because I've gambled with basically every celebrity. Most of them don't take it serious, and the stakes that they gamble at is very high, right? So what I think it is, it's almost like an ego trip. Like, you know, like when these, like new money, let's say like a rapper, right? Goes to the club, spends 100 grand at the club, popping bottles, but he doesn't even drink, you know? Has a whole section for all his homies and all the girls and all this. What does he get from that? Nothing. I think it's ego. He's got this money, spends the money, whatever. I think the casino is just another outlet for a lot of new money to spend money as part of like an ego.
Who do you trust if you're walking out of the casino with millions? Who do you trust? How can you trust anyone? Do you ever feel as if this casino can set someone up where they're maybe being followed and their briefcases get took off them? Does that happen, or is that just in the movies?
It happened to me. It happened to me. I had $4.5 million leaving the Bellagio, and I got set up. We got in a high-speed pursuit down Las Vegas Boulevard, and a security guard at the Venetian is who helped us. Me and Ian in his BMW. $4.5 million, $100 bills in the back seat.
What about friends? Who can you trust when you start making money, especially being flamboyant with it, and people know you've got money? Does that become a hindrance sometimes?
It's the hindrance is equivalent to anybody else who is successful and makes money. The idea that I have all this cash does not add a particular layer of danger when it comes to the people around me. I don't carry cash. I don't even carry a wallet. My pockets are empty. I have a phone and a vape. It's the only thing I carry, right? So, like, when I was walking in and out of those casinos with millions, this was before I even had social media that I was doing it. I looked even more homeless back then than I do now. Nobody knew who I was. Nobody would ever assume I had millions in cash on me. It was never like that. Like, nobody knew who I was. So the one time I got set up, it was an inside casino job. Not like casino executives were trying to like gun me down for $4.5 million. It was like a staff, probably like a cashier or a dealer or a waitress, something like that. Call somebody who, you know, look, whatever. But like, as far as like who do I trust, like in my inner circle, it was the same thing as anybody else who has a successful business. There wasn't like a physical danger for cash. That wasn't what was occurring.
I know homelessness is a big thing for you as well. You do a lot for the homeless. Why? Because you've been homeless? Is that the simple fact?
Probably, you know, I think at first what really happened, because, you know, Las Vegas is built above a city that's underground. And that underground city is a homeless city. Everybody in there is homeless, and they make camp in the underground. And I think the first time I ever went was out of just like pure curiosity. I was like, there's an underground city in Las Vegas where what they call the mole people live. I got to see what this is about, you know? And I feel safe down there because I was homeless for so long, and, you know, like I just didn't feel, I go, yeah, I get it. Like, I know what that's like. I lived in comparable environments. So I really just went down, I think, the first time for like pure curiosity, you know? And then when I was down there, I was like, oh, this is crazy. I go, I just won $3 million, like, you know, 2 hours ago. And now I'm down here with people that are living in sewage tunnels. I go, I should probably give back a little bit. And I just did. And once I did, I just made it a thing. Once I became comfortable with the entrance of the tunnels, where the exits are, how to maneuver. There's also politics down there. There's like leaders. There's ways to because it's their home, you know what I mean? So they don't want like random people coming up to where they're in their little living space, you know? So once I got comfortable with all that, every week that I was in Vegas, I just come, bring food, bring water, whatever, you know?
So is all the homeless getting put into these underground tunnels?
They're choosing to. They get chased out of there sometimes by the cops.
Why would they chase them?
You know, I don't know, because then you're thinking like, if you chase them out of the tunnels, the only place they have left to go is above tunnel, which is going to destroy
On
tourism.
the streets, yeah. How are these people treat you when you go in?
Yeah, great. It's super rare that, as long as you follow their little politics, you know, it's
what is the sort of rules?
There's people that linger outside the tunnel. So the first thing you want to do is you ask, hey, how many people are in each tunnel? And they'll tell you pretty outright, because they see you have food or whatever, right? They go, we appreciate you bringing food. Thank you, right? They go, hey, in this tunnel, they don't want to see anybody. You just go, okay, cool. You don't want to see anybody. They're probably like smoking meth or something. They're all tweaked out, doing us all a favor by telling me that. You just don't go there, you know? And when you walk down, something that I do that I think is very polite is I'll kind of yell down the tunnel. I go, hey, is anybody back there? Is anybody hungry? And a lot of times they go away, we're not hungry. I just don't push forward, you know, stuff like that.
Who else feeds them? Do they have enough food? Do they have shelter? Clothes? Do people dying under there? ODs.
They're probably dying under there. Do they have like clothes and food? Like, probably not really. You know, I mean, some maybe. I don't know.
But it's crazy to think the money that Vegas is making.
Mhm.
It's just crazy that there's homeless. I think 2/3 of the world are starving. I think 2/3 don't have clean water either. Like, it's madness of the world. Going off topic again, but what do you think life is?
What do I think life is? Brother, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm just trudging along. I'm enjoying it the most I can. I think an important thing about life, if I can do something now while I'm living that people will use after I die, I think I've lived a successful life.
What was it like losing millions? Did you not lose 8-9 million?
Yeah, of course. I lost 8 million in one sitting in one day, in an afternoon. Losing 8 million was not as bad as losing 3 million. Losing 3 million means you just lost. Losing 8 million means that someone cheated you, which means that there's a way to get it back.
What about the paedophile hunting stuff?
Yeah, I'm super anti-pedophile.
Yes, bro.
You know, call it a weird stance, but I'm very anti-pedophile.
I think everybody should be.
You know, you would think. Listen to this. Did you know there's a population of people that think hunting pedophiles is bad?
Yeah.
Crazy. You know who's one of them? XQC. XQC is a pedophile protector.
But you get people like that. There's people here having protests in the UK for like rapists who are, it's like illegal immigration. Like, I don't give a fuck who you are. I think you've got to have the right documentation for whatever country you go to. But they're doing protests because there's girls getting abused and people are protesting against the people who are abusing. Do you know there was 2 men protesting against the rapists and they get a bigger prison sentence than the actual rapist because they were protesting that they shouldn't be here unless they have the right paperwork?
No way.
There's over 12,000 people now being sent to prison for social media posts in the UK.
Really?
Yeah.
What you post on social media could be a crime
Right.
here, punishable by prison?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Canada, I heard a lot of crazy stories. I heard a story in Canada during the trans stuff, during COVID. Husband and wife get divorced. Daughter or son, I don't remember, lives with the mom. Young child wants to become transgender. The dad says, I don't support that. He went to prison for saying, I don't support you being transgender in Canada.
But this is what they want. They want to depopulise the world. They want the world being fucking crazy and thinking different.
I think all that stuff's nonsense. You know what I really think? I think that like these governments are looking and they go, how do we keep the idiots busy with idiocracy? They go, the busier they are with dumb stuff that doesn't ever actually make a difference, the less we're going to be distracted making real decisions for real change. Whether for better or for worse change, I don't know. But so the longer they can keep people arguing left versus right, liberal versus conservative, trans or anti-trans, and support. Obviously, why would you ever support a pedophile or a rapist? You know what I'm saying? But the idea that they're even creating that argument just lets dumb people be dumb and leave the big decisions to the big boys.
Totally agree. When you look at people getting sent to wars, you have governments who fund both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of left, right, fucking white, black, Muslim, Christian, male, female, everybody's fighting against each other. And so if you're fighting, the people behind the curtain pulling the string can do what the fuck they want. Nobody asks the questions of how corrupt the world is. You can go down the rabbit hole of the skies being sprayed and fucking the water being full of chemicals. Everything is control. So when everybody thinks they're fighting against each other, they're just fucking, it's just, they're in denial. They're not really creating change. They're just creating more madness. And the people behind them can do what the fuck they want.
Yeah, I think that's it.
What do you think of governments?
I've always been anti-authority, anti-establishment, always.
Yeah, I think it keeps you in good stead, you know? I don't have all the answers. I'm not educated enough, but I interview enough people. I interview left and right, and I think they're all full of shit.
Yeah,
I see good agreements on both sides, but instead of fighting each other, you need to ask the real questions. In the UK, you're paying 50% tax. The streets aren't as safe as they used to be. The roads are fucked. Like, you need to be fighting for more, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you go forward for the future, brother? What's your plans?
I've been doing a lot of movie and TV recently, and I'm going to keep diving deep down that path. I think that's like the next chapter of my life.
For anybody listening or watching that's maybe struggling in life right now, what advice would you have for them?
That's a tough one because I don't really know. I suffered from all those problems. I can say this. The word average means most. So when most people do things, their outcome will be average. They will be average people forever. Unless you want to be average, you have to be an outlier. Don't do what most people do. Don't do what average people do unless you'll be average. Most people are average. If you want to be better than average or different than average, you have to be different than most, and you can't do what everyone else does.
What about the gambling thing, the gambling school where people, you give them money and they can gamble? Like, what is that?
Yeah, so I fund all of my fans' gambling, 100%. So there's ever a loss, I cover 100% of it, and on all the wins, we chop up the wins. It gets a little complicated. If you want, I can share all the details with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So specifically what we do is, do you know what a bookie is?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a gambling addict, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. So bookies give you like websites with credits on it, and so you could bet, you know, 5K a week, 50K a week, 500, whatever it is.
Yeah,
right?
the mafia used to do it.
Yeah,
They were
exactly.
the best at it.
Yeah. So what I do is I have thousands of active accounts. We take these accounts, we log in, we use a VPN, so the IP address always looks like your local address. So it looks like you're logging in all the time. I run all the action. I have very sharp action. You can't tell your bookie that I'm doing this. You have to act like it's you. Every Tuesday comes, collection day, the bookie pays you 100%. You keep your share and you send me the rest.
Legal, obviously.
100% legal. We have very sharp action because we do a lot of things. You know, we do everything from court siding. You know what sharp action is? You know how it all works?
No, not
Okay.
sharp action.
I'll give you.
Is that American?
Well, it's definitely we use it in America, but I assumed it'd be everywhere. I'll just tell you. So we do a lot of things. I'll give you a couple examples. One of the simple versions is we do something called court siding. Court siding is we will literally send somebody to a game. There's a delay, right? Call it usually a 30-second or so delay, sometimes 120 seconds. There's a delay. We have that person live on the phone to another person that's running bots for all of our accounts. So they're watching something happen in the game, basket score, foul, the score before halftime, whatever, in real time, sharing it to a guy that we have in an office running all the bots. So we're placing all these bets 30 seconds before anything is updated to say that that's happened. So we're essentially betting 30 seconds into the future on those bets. That's just one example. Another thing we do is, let's say team A versus team B. Everybody knows team A is going to win. I know it. You know it. The world knows it. The bookie knows it. All the sports books know team A is going to win. So if you bet on team A, you bet 100 to win 10. Team B, you bet 10 to win 100, right? We don't want to risk that money to only make a 10th. So what we do is I'm going to just give an example. We take 100 of our accounts, right? We put $1,000 on each of them, and we bet team B. We know team B is going to lose. We know it. Everybody knows it. We take that money, 100,000 across 100 accounts, 1,000 on each account, and it automatically confuses the computer, tricks the computer to say to themselves, wait a second, team B might not definitely lose because look at all this action. 100 people just bet, it's 100 grand was just placed that team B is going to win. So the computer adjusts it. Then we take 200 accounts with 1,000 on each and bet team A that we knew the whole time. So we're changing the line there to get a better price on team A.
What percentage do people get if they win?
It depends on the exact deal, and the deal depends on essentially two things. One, your ability to negotiate, and the only leverage you have is if you know the game. Like if you know how this works. I didn't invent this. They've been doing this for as long as sports betting been around, right? So if you know the game, you can negotiate well. And the second thing is how good your account is. If you have a large account, the larger the account with the longest possible losing history is the most valuable. If a guy's down 5 million, we'll say, it's worth more to us than a guy that's down 5K, because when we start winning, the guy who goes, we'll win more than 5K before we win more than 5 million, that account gets caught and it gets banned sooner, right? But usually we do a 10% free roll unless we're selling equity of the account, which I don't want, because I want to take the most amount of exposure I can. We win. Winning is not the hard part. Finding places to lay the winning action is. So we sell equity for up to 30%, or we do a free roll at 10%. But I would like everyone to take the free roll option. Leaves more for me.
How long do these accounts stay open for? Did they ever get shut down? Because when I was doing the gambling, sometimes you win more than 500, £1,000, they shut them down. We used to bet in cash 20 years ago. You could bet big, 10, 20 grand.
Yeah.
But the laws changed. Everything changed and everything became, you needed ID. If you put a bet on over 5,000, they had to phone it through, and then it was 1,000. And then so everything changed. All the rules, all the regulations changed. In the UK, obviously there's loopholes, but how long do these accounts last?
So getting the winning action is not hard. I have very sharp action. My action will win. That's why I put up 100% of the money, right? I have no problem taking 100% of the risk because we win anyway. The hard part is disguising the winning action. What we need is the accounts to stay open as long as possible. The longer they're open, the longer I'm printing money. The longer we're all making money, except for the casino and the bookie. So it depends on what skin we're using. I mean, there's variables, whether it's a live bet or how early we close the line. Sometimes they get banned or restricted in the first day. Sometimes they last a year. Our main objective that we work every day the hardest on is how do we continue to disguise the action. I can give you like a guess. I don't know. Like if we had to average all my accounts, 6 months. That's my average guess. But we're printing cash the whole 6 months.
Do you have any regrets in life?
In life? Oh, so many. So many. I think I have more regrets than I do whatever the opposite is.
Think good things. Just before we finish up, what's the worst thing you've seen in prison? Is there anything sticks out in your mind?
I seen some, not that it was so crazy, not that it was like so wild. I don't think it's what anyone's thinking. So I saw a guy, he was in the cell next to me. It's kind of like an older dude. They called his name for release and he refused to leave. He had been in jail for so long and he had nothing on the outside that at least while he was in jail, he was guaranteed shelter, food, 3 hots and a cot. And he refused to leave and they had to come and physically remove him from the jail.
Doesn't want to leave?
He had nothing waiting for him on the outside. He was going to no money homelessness. Like he was in there for so long, it's all he knew. So when they called I thought it was crazy. I was young. I was like 19 when I seen that. I thought it was crazy. But yeah, he didn't want to leave.
Where do you go with the tattoos now? How long have you got?
I started the tattoo removal 7 years ago. Honestly, I'm pretty lazy about it. I probably haven't gone back in 2 years.
Do you feel like a different person? Do you feel different when you look at yourself?
If I didn't have these tattoos, for sure. Because I've already removed like a lot off my face and I already feel better. Like I already feel, like when I look in the mirror, I like more what I see.
What was your first ever tattoo?
I got 2 at the same time. I got these stupid letters across my chest. And I got a stick figure pushing a lawnmower on my pubes.
What's the one what's the one with the biggest memory to it, the biggest attachment? Is there anything you would never get lasered?
If I could snap my fingers and have no tattoos, I would. It's not realistic, so I'm going to keep some. I have one on my ankle. It's a Gucci flip-flop, and it says, I don't say curse words, but the tattoo has curse words. It says F your B around the Gucci flip-flop on my ankle. I like that tattoo.
God as well is a big part of your life.
Yeah, for sure.
When did that sort of happen? When was that sort of belief? I believe in a higher power. I believe in a creator. I don't know what the fuck that is. I believe I've never read the Bible or the Quran. I've dipped my toe in to try and understand it. I believe in something's bigger than me, outside of me. I know this, but what about God to you? Like, what happened?
It started in jail, actually. It was a pretty crazy experience. I'll save you the boring details. I basically had a bunkie who was like a very infamous gangster, and he forced me to pray. And if he wasn't so prone to violence, we're also from 2 different groups. You know what I'm saying? And we're in the cell together. So I thought kind of the best way to keep the peace for myself was to sort of just like placate him. So he would force me to pray with him every morning and every night. And then very slowly, I sort of saw things happening in my life, even though I was still locked up, that like I couldn't really explain on my own. So then I started saying like, just in case I was wrong my whole life, because I was atheist, like hardcore. So I started saying eventually, I go, just in case I'm wrong and maybe there is a God, there's no loss if there's not. But just in case there is, I was like, let me make this prayer a good one. So I started praying like from my heart. And then like more and more, I kept seeing God enter my life. And then eventually I built a full conscious contact with God.
Do you feel a presence around you?
This is going to be I don't know how deep you want to get into this. It can get pretty interesting. But a few years ago, I had like, what I would say is like a problem with my relationship with God. Like mine and his relationship, we almost had like a fight, basically, like a spiritual fight, I feel like, where I thought that I should get things that I wasn't receiving, and then I was receiving things, bad things, that I felt that I didn't deserve. And then he and I would start to battle over it, and I'm still working on ways to like mend the relationship, so to speak. I almost refer to a higher power as like as if I had a best friend that was like watching my back and looking after me. And I'm like, hey, bro, we went to the bar together. I got jumped by these dudes. Why were you not by my side? We went into this bar knowing that we'd protect each other, and you let this bad thing happen to me. Where were you? You know? And he's like, my bad, bro. I was doing something else. And I go, that's not cool, dog, because you said to me that if I, do this thing for you, like if I watch your back, you'll watch mine. I've been watching your back. Why didn't you watch mine? And then it led to like this like spiritual friction almost, this like combative nature between my higher power and myself. And I'm still working on ways to like
Fix it.
Yeah, fix it. Yeah.
But when sometimes if you're praying or asking for anything, if you're asking God for strength, he's not going to make you strong.
He's going to give you
He makes you weak.
Yeah.
To then fight through it and find strength. I think there's the poem Footprints in the Sand.
Amazing.
Yeah. When like someone, you lose your partner or lose a family member, and they says, God, I prayed for you, and where were you? And what happens is there was 2 sets of footprints, and then it became one. And it says, look, where were you in my darkest time? It says, my son, I was the one carrying you.
Yeah.
Like fucking powerful.
I think that passage is like one of the most beautiful I've ever seen. It like sticks with me. But I'll say like, I think a lot of people try to justify things happening. I don't think everything happens for a reason. As a matter of fact, I think nothing happens for a reason. I think things just happen. I don't think that people say like, oh, like, it's okay you guys broke up because there'll be a better relationship down the road. I disagree. I go, why couldn't that have just been the better relationship? Why did I have to have that pain to have pleasure down the line? I didn't need that. God could have just provided me pleasure from the beginning. He didn't have to give me these scars. God, so to your point, like, what did you say? You said that when I pray for strength, that he'll put me in a position where I'm weak to build my strength. Why would he do that to me? Why? Why couldn't he just make me strong?
There's questions we can ask and never get the answers either.
I know.
Do you search a lot about life, or do you try and live it daily to the best of your ability? Because my mind is like, I can think about fucking aliens and spaceships and outer space. Earth is flat, round. My mind, I can sit trying to go to sleep at night and I'm thinking, what's a cow's favourite meal? And I'm fucking Googling mad shit. Like, my mind is fucked. But I try and ask the right questions to understand it more. I don't have all the answers. I genuinely don't. I'm not the most educated, but what I can do is have a conversation. No notes, no question, take it on a journey. I believe that's my gift. Obviously, the Scottish accent I'll need to work on, but we'll get there, brother. Like, you've done fucking amazing to get to 90 minutes, Yeah. But like, do you ever question life itself? Like, what the fuck is it?
Yeah, I question constantly. With every question, all I do is realize that I know even less, and I have like more questions and more confusion. I feel more lost. I can't help myself but to question a lot, but I try not to. I try to just live. Every time I question, bro, I just feel like overwhelmed with ignorance and like more questions.
Do you feel as if you're an empath? Do you feel pain, other people's misery?
No.
No?
No, I don't really tolerate other people's problems. Most people are dramatic. Most people are pussies. Most people are weak and lazy, and I have zero tolerance for that.
The LA fires. You were
The LA fires.
very outspoken about that.
Yeah.
And I believe obviously it was a setup as well. There was definitely something behind that, different fires and different times all happening at the same time. I don't think the fire hydrants had water either. Like, it doesn't make sense. But what's your opinion on it?
Did you see the clip of me?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
That's why I asked. Bro, so crazy, bro. So my house was going to be the next house burned on fire when the fire spread to the LA hills, or the Hollywood Hills. So me and a couple of my buddies were there. We packed up all my belongings. We had a truck like backed up, ready to go, basically, right? And so like everyone's looking at me like I was trying to hold out. Like, I don't want to like admit defeat. They go, Mickey, it's time to go, bro. I go, all right, before we leave, let's just drive to the other house, like the last house that's currently on fire, so I can just like kind of like say bye, right? We pulled up. As soon as we pulled up, firefighters looked at me and two of my buddies and go, can you guys help? I'm like, oh, for sure. Not that we did much. They would have done the same thing without us, just to be clear. Like, I can't pretend I actually made an impact, but we were willing to. So we like helped. They had me pulling like a pulley with chainsaws to firefighters that were on a higher deck. That's what we were doing, right? They ended up putting that fire out. When they put the fire out, there was all these news cameras there. There's a dude from KTLA who filmed me like a year prior on some other thing. He saw me out in the street and he filmed me. So as soon as we were done helping the firefighters, put the camera in my face. He goes, Mikki, say your name and what you're doing here. I go, I'm Mikki Mase, and LA's lighting the city on fire. Or the government's lighting LA on fire, right? They use that clip as the intro to every conspiracy video for a month on the news in LA about those fires. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's people who start calling you a conspiracy nut as well. Like, people don't, a lot more people are aware now. You can speak out a lot more crazy shit and people kind of understand it. But I think sometimes, including myself, can search too much and forget to live, you know, and just enjoy life.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, so like with the fires, I'm convinced for sure the government lit the city of LA on fire. There's no, you're not, I think you're an idiot to even try to tell me it was a natural, I don't know, coincidence. Man, all wrong. Like, for sure they did that, right? When you're gonna ask me why, what, when, all this stuff, that's when it starts like, to what end am I gonna dedicate my life to understanding why they did it? You know, like, I can't change it. I can't do anything about it. I'll never even actually be able to know if what I believe is right is right. And all it's gonna do is stop me from living my life. Yes, the government lit the city of LA on fire. Why they did it, I have my guesses. But after I guess, I'm not thinking more on it. It already happened. I can't control it.
Do a lot of people come forward to you for advice about addiction, drugs, gambling?
Mostly people just ask me for money. And the second most common thing is they ask me for gambling advice. But gambling advice, not in the sense of helpful advice. They're like, such idiots. What's the sauce? What's the secret mission on how you win gambling? You know, and the only thing I could really tell them is to gamble on Kirgo. This is the thing. All casinos cheat. Every online casino has came to me and said, Mikki, can we work out a deal? And they've offered me crazy money, right? We get to the final portion. I go, hey, the only thing I ask is that you allow me to take a look at anything I want. I want to audit any back end, any software, the providers. I want to audit anything I want. And if I find anything not kosher, I'm going to share it to the people. And they go, sorry, we can't do this deal anymore. Every single one except for Kirgo. And Kirgo doesn't pay me, by the way. Kirgo came to me with open arms and they said, anything you want, we're going to use you as a way to audit our own stuff. I go, when you find something, post it, we'll watch it, and that's how we'll know where things are wrong. I go, amazing. And on Kirgo, this is a huge thing. People don't know this. When you gamble in Vegas, you can get comps for anything. You can ask for essentially free stuff at any turning point. They'll say no to all the important ones until you reach a certain level of gambling. The most vital one, I did not have to, I was a large gambler, 7-figure gambler. Their most valuable negotiation tool is what's known as a discount. That's money back anytime you lose. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
Okay. So when you're a big enough gambler in Vegas, the main thing that the gambler wants to negotiate is what percentage of their money they get back in cash when they walk out of the door. So the biggest I was ever offered was 25%. It was from the win. So if I lose $4 million, they hand me $1 million in cash on the way out. I have $1 million discount on my loss, right? I did the opposite. I would when they would offer me discounts in Vegas, I would say, you know what? How about you give me a 0% discount, but instead higher betting limits? And to them, that's like the exact opposite that big gamblers want. And they thought that I was so stupid that they would just grant it to me, but it worked for me. So Kirgo, if you ever lose on Kirgo, 24 hours later, you get money back. And not enough people know that.
And what is this, an online site?
It's an online casino, yeah, Kirgo, Kirgo.com, Kirgo.com.
What's the best advice you've ever had?
I've had a couple great pieces of advice. The first one that stood out to me just now as the best advice ever received is anybody can make money, but it takes a successful man to be able to hold on to it.
Do you ever look at people in the casinos and feel sorry for them, knowing that
For sure.
they're just wasting money?
I don't feel sorry for them that they're wasting money. You know what? Hold on. Let me change my answer, I think. Let me think about this. No, I don't feel bad for people that are losing money in the casino. I look at these people that lose money in the casino, and the majority of them lose $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. And to them, that's all the money in the world. They have no idea how much money's in this world available for the taking. And I remember when I would lose 1,000 or 2,000, it was all the money to my name, and I thought it was all the money in the world. And I look at where I am now. I'm very excited for them when they finally make it through life and realize that 1 grand, 2 grand, 5 grand they thought was all the money in the world was nothing. And they look back and they go, whoa, those were good times.
What makes a good gambler?
Someone that can walk away while they're up. The second thing, that's the short answer. What makes a great gambler is someone who can walk away while they're out. What makes an advantage gambler is somebody who does not gamble for enjoyment, but gambles based on casino weaknesses. Like the Kirgo thing, for example, the money back, right? There's actually a lot of things you can do on Kirgo. So, for example, if they don't force you to submit your identification to make an account, you can make as many accounts as you want. And so Kirgo's, for example, other casinos do this as well, but I don't play on those other ones. If they don't let me look at the back, I'm just completely disinterested. So on Kirgo, you can play. They're regularly giving out like sign-on bonuses and this kind of benefit, etc. Right? So this is not that I'm advising people to do this. My real advice is nobody should gamble. Definitely don't gamble. But people aren't going to listen, and they don't listen. So if they're going to gamble, what they can do is make as many accounts as they want and abuse all the bonuses as much as they can, right? And eventually one of them hits and it becomes profitable. That's a sign of an advantage gambler, getting money back. When you play on some dumb sites, like I don't even know what they're called anymore, Spin Bet and Razor and whatever dumb online casinos exist. Most of them are illegal, have no licensing, just total offshore nonsense, right? They're just losing money. They lose money every day. When you play on a place that gives you money back, it's so simple. That is your signs of being an advantage player, is playing on a casino's weakness. You're not playing for enjoyment. You're not playing for sport. You're not playing because you're having fun. You're playing because there's a weakness that you can expose where it can become profitable for you as a player.
When was the last time you cried?
I feel like it was recently, but I really can't remember. I remember I moved at the beginning of September. And I remember standing in my empty closet my last day in that house. I remember crying and talking to my grandfather who's passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So he lived a beautiful and full life. And I remember he passed away some years ago, but I remember just a couple months ago in September, my last day in my house, standing in my closet, empty, all my clothes were packed up and gone, and crying, kind of talking to him like, look what I did, I made it. Look at this beautiful house that I'm leaving for a better house. All his pain and all his struggle and all his fight to keep me alive and give me whatever I could to be a better person, like finally paid off,
The thing I see with you, brother, is I see a good person. I see a genuine fucking soul. Like I see someone who is a good, and I believe you can do greater help than what people actually think. Instead of people asking you how to gamble, I think they're asking you the wrong questions. I think you have the answers for other side of it, for people to be better and how to make changes. Because it's not, can you take compliments? Can you accept compliments?
I could hit you with a thank you.
I think from what you've understanding your story, from what you've been through to what you're doing now, like it's fucking unbelievable. Like it is a mad story. Are they going to do a movie about your film, about your life?
Yeah. They're working on it right now.
Beautiful.
Matter of fact, I can't say. Okay,
anyway. Any Scotsman in that movie? Any crazy fucking Scotsman at the roulette machine full of cocaine?
You know what I can maybe do? I'm not even kidding. I might be able to throw you like a cameo in some Recreate as like one of the maniacs. I could probably find a spot.
But like I say, I think it's unbelievable, and I know I'm very proud of you for what you've done. I know you don't need that sort of pussy shit, but like I say, when I hear these stories, it's amazing because you don't understand how many people who listen and watch these podcasts who are battling so many different demons, and a lot of people in life are lost. Sometimes I talk as if I have it figured out, but I don't know as much as the next man. I've mastered a good game. I'm playing a character like we all are. This character's just making me win for the first time instead of losing. I'm more in control, but I think it's a great thing that from fucking sleeping on the streets and snowballs, what we call them here, to then making millions. And you're in contact with some of the biggest names on the world, like Kevin Hart and other big names. Like, how is that feeling when they contact?
Bro, it's crazy. Well, it was crazy, you know? Like, I'm just some kid, you know? Like, that's like barely not homeless, how I feel about it. And like, all my biggest idols from like growing up and all that are contacting me, begging me to hang out, and like they're begging me for my knowledge so I can teach them. And I'm like, yeah, are you guys good? Like, you sure you want my help? You know? Crazy experience, very surreal.
My brother, listen, for coming on today and telling your story. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I think what you're doing is amazing. I genuinely look forward to what you see for the future. I believe this is the start of a great friendship. I think we're definitely going to do something together. I don't know what it is, but I genuinely feel that. Would you like to finish up on anything else?
I'm definitely tired of doing interviews where people ask me about gambling. It's the same interview 100 times. I tell interviewers that, you know, I go, why are you going to ask me the same question someone else asked me? So I appreciate, you know, us switching it up a bit. I think that anybody watching this podcast is looking for inspiration emotionally, but not rationally, because if they were actually looking to do something with that inspiration, they wouldn't be watching this podcast. They'd just be doing it. I think people who watch podcasts, I know it's your business. That's going to piss off everyone that's going to hear this, because the only people that are going to hear this, the people it applies to, I think they're all lazy and weak. You're listening to us. You know, these people are listening to us talk about things instead of them doing things. I ain't got time for that. They should be doing these things. I hope that this is the last podcast any of them ever watch. I hope they get up and do something.
Not this podcast. Keep watching, fuckers. Keep being lazy. Keep being bums. You know, keep being lazy as fuck. My brother, listen, thank you for coming on. Again, enjoy the rest of your stay in the UK, and I look forward to seeing what you do for the future.
Thank you, brother.
God bless, bro.